Right, hello there everybody, Adam Clery from FourFourTwo here, and the Champions League is back. Nobody quite understands it anymore, but it's back all the same. And to celebrate it being back, Liverpool went and got their apparently customary victory at the San Siro. I didn't know that was a thing, but anyway, within that game, we saw a whole lot about Arne Slot's side, what is good and what is bad. Now, obviously, I use bad in a very loose term. It's like his 5th or 6th game or something. Putting a microscope on him already would be absolutely insane. But if we did, and we peered into it, then we'd see this match was actually a pretty good microcosm of what he's trying to do with this Liverpool team, what is currently working for them, and what the challenges currently are. So yeah, this is that. Alright, so 2 things for you very quickly. First of all, I've had to redo the entire studio again. I think I might have accidentally bleached out my entire face with these lights. So if I have, sorry about that. I'm not just trying to make myself look 3 or 4 or 15 years younger. And second of all, Cody Gakpo. I thought this was like his best game he's ever had for Liverpool, and certainly the game he's had for Liverpool that is most like the games he tends to have for the Netherlands. But before we get into him and like rub him down with the buttery oils of praise, I'm going to talk about something that wasn't as good. The biggest, in my opinion, the biggest teething issue that Liverpool have had so far under Slot is how he wants them to press. Now, if you have watched them either in the Premier League or just last night, you will know they still have that high press they became famous for under Jurgen Klopp. You see stuff like this all the time. When the team have the ball at the back, they really don't want them to play out. They try and win it high. And yet, while it is definitely still a small sample size, if we look at the numbers in the Premier League this season, they're not scoring particularly high for tackles won, for interceptions made, for getting the ball back in the opposition's third, or even just in the middle of the pitch. They're not doing it overly well, despite doing it a lot. And that is something you do have to point out when you look at these stats, because they can just be a representation of play style more than execution. Like, you'll notice Chelsea are way down the bottom because Maresca hasn't got them playing that high up, and Tottenham away at the top, not because they're the best at this, but because Ange Ball is so inherently front foot and get in their face. But regardless, anyway, I digress. Liverpool are trying to do this. They're just not doing it very well. And you saw in the opening minutes leading up to the goal the problems they're having with this, because Liverpool's pressing shape is this 4-2-4. The number 10 last night, that was 𝗬𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗍𝗍. He goes up alongside the centre forward, and they have this very straight line. Now, they're not the only team to do this. Man United do it as well, and they do it quite wide. But Liverpool like to do it incredibly narrow. What they're trying to do is block off any passes into the middle of the pitch. The other two can jump up and support if anybody finds space behind them. They want to try and force teams out wide so they can then use the touchline as another defender and then swarm and try and win it back here. And not to mention the names of any other association football teams, but if you employ this style against, I don't know, top of my head, some regional rivals with an aging number 6 who, were they a dog, the RSPCA would have come and taken them away by now, it can be very good. You swarm them, you use your extra energy, you use the fact you're in a nice congested area, you win the ball back, and then you immediately go and score goals. But on the other hand, if you come up against teams who are very good at playing through this kind of pressure, that have a lot of mobility in these areas of the pitch, and in particular have very aggressive wingers who will pin your fullbacks to stop them joining in, then you do have these 2 pockets of space that you can play in. And don't get me wrong, by the way, it's not like a rock, paper, scissors thing. Like, you use it against the right kind of team, you're going to win, and you use it against the wrong kind of team, you're going to lose. It's just that some opponents will ask a lot more of these 4 players in terms of their energy, their instinct, and their organisation. And because, as I am at pains to point out, we are still in the single figures of the Arne Slot reign, it's taken them a little while to get this together. In the opening minutes here, you can see that all 4 of these Liverpool players, they are committed to the press. They're trying to close down. They all sort of know which players they're supposed to be going for, but because they haven't quite got this nailed down yet, and Milan are good at playing through this kind of thing, that is a brilliant ball from the goalkeeper that completely blows the press open. And from there, Milan get in down that side. You can see the gap here between Alexander-Arnold and Salah. That's what they're targeting. They get a ball in down the channel, and they nearly score from this. I mean, I say nearly score. It was offside, this passage of play, so it wouldn't have counted. But still, you can see exactly what it is they're doing, the areas they're targeting, and why Liverpool are vulnerable to that. And it was by targeting that exact area that Milan get their goal. Because you can see again, they're trying to put the squeeze on the goalkeeper. They're trying to cut off these angles into the centre of the pitch, but the fullback just goes and stands in the huge gap that leaves. It's a really nice clipped ball into him because he's standing so far behind the line of the press. That then forces 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏 to bolt forward to try and put a bit of pressure on the ball. He gets done and 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 is in. There was almost an identical chance of this for Nottingham Forest in the league game as well. Like, it's far more sort of condensed, but you can see the fullback has gone and stood in this gap between Alexander-Arnold and Salah. It's played into him, he can receive, and then another little sort of 1-2 pulls the fullback out of position, and they're in down that side, although this time nothing really comes of it. And so, oh no, it's like 5 minutes into the game and you're a goal down and your opponent has your system more or less figured out. Like, Milan's wide players were pinning Liverpool's fullbacks, stopping them pushing on. That meant that Milan's fullbacks could then go and sit in these spaces, and because the goalkeeper's very good with the ball, either he was finding them directly every single time, or when Liverpool did try and cut those off by spreading out, that removed the compactness, that opened up the middle, and they played through them. That's about as bad a start as you can get. But Arne Slot is nothing if not a problem solver, and he's nothing if not a pragmatist. He's very good at working with what's in front of him, and he made a very, very simple change to this that fixed the whole thing. And that change was he did not lose his nerve. He instructed the forward four to stay compact to make sure they were blocking off those central passing options, and then more or less told Alexander-Arnold, just don't worry about 𝗘𝗊𝗍𝗀𝗏. To be honest, you can jump all the way forward, sit on 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, and we'll just kind of shuffle across into a back three. And this meant that 𝗘𝗊𝗍𝗏𝗏 was now Konaté's problem, which is fine. They cut off the ball into 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, which is fine. And they made sure they did all that without opening up the middle. Job's a good one, they go on and win 3-1. And that is why I used a very intelligent sounding word like microcosm at the start of the video. Because not only is my word a day toilet paper now practically paying for itself, but it is. You're going to see a lot of this from Liverpool in the opening weeks and months of Arne Slot. Them trying to do one thing, and when it doesn't work, having to improvise with it on the fly. The hope is going to be that eventually these four just get so well drilled and so well organised at doing this, you haven't got to start pulling players from other positions to sort of plug the gaps. But until then, expect to see a lot of pressing jazz from Arne Slot, whatever that is. But anyway, yes, I also wanted to talk about this man, 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏. He has definitely had his moments, but I think it's fair to say he's not been great in a Liverpool shirt so far. Now, he undoubtedly looked like hot at that World Cup, so Liverpool spunked a load of money on him, but it's never quite worked for him the same way in a red shirt as it has in an orange one. And that, plain and simply, is down to the contrasting play styles of those two sides. Like, the Netherlands play in a way that can really suit the things he's very good at doing, and Liverpool just didn't, really. So this is Cody Gakpo's heat map from last night, and you will see it's not a whole lot. Despite Liverpool having a lot more of the ball, that is not a player who is desperately looking to get on it and to help make things happen and to drop into the midfield and create overloads. He's not that interested in link-up play. And you can see that in his passes as well, because if we overlay those, there's a big concentration of very short backwards ones right here in exactly the same area that we said Milan were targeting. And that is because, and you can whisper this, Liverpool were doing the exact same thing that Milan were. Like, they were being pressed in a 4-2-4 at the same time and targeting these areas right here to try and get themselves out. But because Milan were a little bit more conservative with this and didn't want to overcommit, it made sense for Liverpool to then drop an attacker into this area, knowing the fullback wouldn't go with them. So as a result, Gakpo's got loads of these where he's dropped into the space, he's been found over the top of the press, one touch into Liverpool's midfield, and they're away. Like, almost every single other pass he attempts is from this really dangerous left-hand side of the box straight into an area where a teammate can potentially score. It's not overly clever, it's not overly disciplined, it's not trying to retain possession, it's not trying to slowly unlock the opposition. It is pure out-and-out goal-getting. And that is who Cody Gakpo is. I asked a Liverpool supporting friend of mine to try and remember any game last season where Gakpo started and he was just crap. And straight away, immediate answer, oh, it was the Forest game from last season. He started in that and he just could not do anything right. And this is his heat map from that match. Now, apparently he started as the centre forward, but then as the game went on, substitutions had him left and had him right. So you can sort of see there's a small amount of influence here, and he kind of drops into this bit here, and he's on the right, and he's dropping here, and he's dropping there. That's not his game at all. Like, Liverpool needed him to do a lot of complex link-up play, to be part of possession, to be part of the passes, to be part of unlocking that defence, and he was nothing. Now, he had some 60-odd touches of the ball in that game, but he did not create a single chance for his teammate. He did not get a single shot on target, and he lost the ball 11 times. But in the Milan game, and when he's able to play this sort of way, despite only being on the field for just over an hour, he created 2 or 3 really good chances. He had 2 good chances of his own. He blew past a defender 4 separate times, taking Liverpool up the field. Like, his ball carrying and his chance creation are where his strengths are, and it looks like finally he might be getting used that way. Like, what was the best game you've seen 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗧𝗏 have recently before this? I'll let you think. Yes, that's right. It was Netherlands versus Romania, where he got those 2 goals. And if we compare the heat map from last night with the heat map from that game, that is exactly how he was being used there. Like, don't come in field, don't come looking for it, don't help, don't do this, don't do that. Either get on it deep and go and attack them directly with the ball, or arrive in these areas without it and be found. And I think, as needlessly poetic as this might sound, that's what happened last night. Arne Slot found 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗥𝗧𝗏. He started to find the real 𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏. Now, don't get me wrong, just like with the pressing structure they're trying to do, I don't think it's the finished product yet. I don't think it's magically all good and gravy and biscuits and puppies and kisses and all of that. But if you were the kind of person who thought maybe he'd be on his way out the door, I think no. I think his importance will only swell from here. So yeah, that's it. Really good win for Liverpool in their first Champions League game, coming from behind against a supposed European heavyweight. A great performance from a player who should now be knocking on the door of the first 11. A few teething issues, they're all on show, but they are at least, look, watch, being addressed. Now, if you have enjoyed this video, there's loads of Champions League football this season. They decided to add even more because of money. So please do subscribe to us here on FourFourTwo, where we'll be covering as many of them as I am physically able. And all joking about my probable psychosis to one side, new subscribers really do help us grow the channel. And I don't know what the number says right now, but we're so close to 600,000, which would make my brain explode in my head. So if you haven't subscribed to us yet and you would like to, I promise you will not regret it. Elsewhere, though, you can grab me on all the socials at @𝗘𝗫𝗧𝗏𝗏, Clery. The FourFourTwo socials are in the corner of the video. The comment section I dearly love to read, and we do try and respond and interact to as many of those as we can. So if you've got an opinion on this game or just Liverpool in general, please do get it down there. And maybe me and you will have a chat, like friends do. Until next time, though, that is all the outroduction, which I presume is what outro is short for, that I've got time for today. So that's me. That's done. That's good. I really am worried I'm totally bleached out, but nothing I can do about it now, is there? Goodbye, 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 goodbye.